Friends, how are you doing? I'm excited tomorrow. You know why? Because I love fear, I love gossip, I love pandemonium bloodbath and when it comes down to the stock market. And we're going into it tomorrow. We are jumping off the boats, hitting the beach, and then everything is coming at us tomorrow because these tariffs have went into effect. The crypto market has already shown what it's doing. It is falling apart. I mean, it is on its knees, crawling for air at this point. So with that, I would expect the stock market to do the same reaction tomorrow, where it is just like. So don't expect a lot tomorrow for push up. I think this maybe the next few days. Who knows how long here short term, we're going to see a lot of buying going on here where this is a moment of opportunity that we're going to have before us. Now, with that, what is one big thing we can expect tomorrow? There's a lot of big companies announcing their earnings this week. Tomorrow, especially, Palantir will be releasing their Q4 quarterlies, which we expect them to be really good, but that's going to be after market closes too, so could be see more of a drive on that Tuesday. But listen, this is very it's so interesting because, and I'm going to talk about Big Bear obviously, but this has a lot to do with what's happening here with Big Bear. This is a very interesting thing we have before us because I don't know. I mean, I don't think, I haven't, my father, your father's father, we have not seen something like this happen in our stock market, okay? So this is very interesting. I mean, if you've been in the stock market for the last 10 years, you have seen so many new things and so much history be made. And right now you're living that evolutionary moment with the stock market and companies that you were able to put your money into when it comes to just the growth of what's coming. So long term, I feel great what's happening here. Short term, we're going to take a beating. It's going to be bad, okay? But let's talk about Big Bear. Okay, so obviously, Big Bear, long story short, Big Bear, if you don't know, this is something that I have been putting money into when it was around $2, $3. I started to push a lot of money into this, okay? Now, I do want to say this before I say anything else. I am not expecting Big Bear to work this year. And what I say by work, I'm not expecting Big Bear at this moment because there's no evidence for it to just start making huge amounts of money, to start just releasing massive quarterlies. It's not there right now. But things are happening with Big Bear that are signs of goodness, greener grass on the other side of the hill here. There are things that we can see right now that okay, if I can get in cheap enough now, maybe by the end of the year, we could be at, maybe $7, $10 here with Big Bear. So obviously the question is, can Big Bear hit $10 this year? As of right now, financially with Big Bear, what we know, no, there's no way Big Bear can financially produce, market cap quarterly to $10, okay? Now, with that, Big Bear still has to report its last Q4. That's coming here in March. And obviously that week, March 6th, that's going to be a very particular week because that same, week, days, hours, Trump will be giving his State of the Union speech, which I expect will have a lot to do with AI, a lot with money, stock markets, things like that. And Big Bear could be pushed up with that conversation, that hype train that'll be happening with the market. But not only, we'll know more about what's going on with Big Bear and their finances when that Q4 comes out. So what are the good things? Let's talk about the good things with Big Bear right now, okay? And like I said, you're at your own risk here with Big Bear. It is my wild card of 2025. I'm not trying to be I know I'm sounding very bearish on it, but you have to be aware that this is a company that has big problems, but it's starting to show some turnaround here. So let's talk about the good news here. The good news, well, one good thing that we know here is that, we've got the tariffs coming into effect here. We're going to see how the market really reacts to it. It's probably going to be bad here at first, but long term, it may straighten out. And what we know is that Trump has already said he's going to put $500 billion into AI technology here. And that's going to be shoved into our market, into companies here. So Big Bear could get a piece of that. Now, with that conversation, Big Bear recently here just acquired this almost $200 million contract with the government, okay? Now, why is that important? It's important because that's a sign of better things, okay? Now, obviously, with government contracts, they usually come in clumps. Okay, we've seen other companies that get government contracts. They usually get one here, months later they'll get another one. Now, is that going to happen with Big Bear? I don't know. But this one contract alone is lasting for a few years here, and is expected to raise, their, finances 14% here. So there's a lot there to say, okay, well, we should start to see some push up here on earnings. With that too, Big Bear had a rough year with earnings. They did not hit even expectations. I'm not going to lie to you. It's public news. You can look it up. I've got a picture of it right here. Two, with that, they just got their new CEO, Kevin. Kevin here, I'm just calling him Kevin. You can look at his whole name. Kevin has been with Big Bear, but Kevin as well has ties with Trump. Okay, back in 2016, these are two guys that were shaking hands, knew each other, defense. Kevin comes from a defense background. And so with that, Big Bear already getting these defense contracts from what we're seeing. Kevin having a relationship with Trump administration, and being the CEO of Big Bear now, saying, hey, we do this thing with defense. That's happening. And not only with that, what do we know that Trump loves to spend money on? And he's already shown signs of this. He's already talked about it. Defense. Trump spent more money on defense than any other president that we've seen here in the last decade. And not that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's what he's put his money into. But for you as an investor, that's good. That's great. That's one reason we're seeing Palantir, just like really the expectation is so high there for contracts to keep growing there. Now with Big Bear being in a similar situation on a very smaller scale here, we want to see bigger, more contract, even just more contract at this point, just start, they start layering on top of each other to really drive up quarterlies. That's going to be the real big thing to really push Big Bear into a new realm here. So, there's a lot of expectation of what could happen here with Big Bear in the future. So, friends, like I said, it is a wild card with Big Bear, and this is not a situation where I would fundamentally tell anybody to put money into Big Bear and you're going to receive it back, because there's no guarantee at this point. There's still things that have to come, but I've got a lot of great investments. I think a lot of us do. We've got a lot of great investments. They're solid. They're going to keep going up, and we have that. But there are these things in the market where I like to take a chance. I like to have a wild card. In Big Bear this year, it's my wild card. I don't know that it may be mean to me this time next year. I don't know that it's going to stay at this $4 range or go back to a $1 range. But I do know this: they need to do better on this last quarterly. There needs to be some sort of showing that they are moving upwards with this Q4 that'll be coming out here in about 35 days. So with that, what is the chances of Big Bear going to $10? I do think if we can see Big Bear acquire more years, I'm hoping, and I hope maybe Kevin will hear this. Their new CEO, Kevin, will hear this. I hope Kevin does more interviews. I think it's so positive. It's so good when you have a CEO talk about their company, talk about their brand, about what they are, what they do, just openly and honestly. That's so good for a company. We've seen that time and time again where that's so good, where investors they're hyped up. They're positive. It's a positive thing that they're putting out there. So with that, we could see Big Bear get into a situation here in March where Trump does the speech talking about AI, talking about money, stock market, the future. Maybe, Big Bear here, they at least they just meet their quarterlies here. That would be excellent. Okay, that would be full-blown proof that they're moving in the right direction. Okay, so that too, that could set in motion for Big Bear to be in the $5 and maybe be in a $7 range. If we could get into a $5 to $7 range with Big Bear here by March, there's a whole lot of time left for Big Bear to run up the rest of the year, especially with maybe achieving more contracts, doing better on quarterlies. What we know now is that Big Bear in 2025 here, they should at least have a better year financially than what they had here in 2024. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes with technology, with the race of it, with, a lot of these AI companies, fighting towards each other. I wouldn't even be surprised to see Big Bear get a a partnerships, maybe not so much a partnership, but a huge investment from an AI company, whether that be something like what NVIDIA did with SoundHound. Maybe Palantir comes in here and they say like, hey, we are working with Big Bear, similar technology there, similar contracts there. I don't know that would happen, but something in those realms to where Big Bear could really produce some more cash flow for them. That's the things that big investors like. When you're talking about big investors, firms, when they look at, like, hey, we're going to put X amount of money, millions of dollars into a company. Well, first we need to know how much money do they have on hand? How much debt do they have? Big Bear, they got a lot of debt. They got to get paid off. Okay. Like I said, I'm double-edged sword. I'm bringing here. They got debt. They need to hit quarterlies. They need to prove they can do something here. And now they have a new CEO who's been with the company, but still has something to prove here. So there's things that I would just like to see. Maybe they can get some debt paid off this year. Maybe their new CEO, Kevin, will just, for God's sakes, just start to talk to people. Just let people know who and what Big Bear is and, where they're focused and what they expect. Hype up investors. Hype up the crowd. Do something here. So there could be a situation here in March, maybe, where Big Bear gets some hype attached to it, where it gets caught in this. Maybe the market, maybe after these tariffs, these somewhat get settled, maybe it somewhat calms down, and hey, a few months in, these tariffs, they're actually working. Maybe they work, and obviously that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not trying to make this like a political conversation. I'm just saying, like, financially for our stock market and for as people, they work for the country. They work. Okay, well, what do you think the stock market's going to do? The stock market's going to go freaking nuts off of that, okay? So we could be in a situation where we're either going to see our market go into a short-term decline, or it's going to be, it's just going to be a bad day here, there, tomorrow, and then it starts to just do its thing. It doesn't really care about maybe it doesn't care about the tariffs. I don't know. Or it could just be, maybe it reacts completely different and it just blows up in a good way. It's hard to say at this point. We've never been here recently. I think many of us, we've never been here with this massive amount of tariffs on other countries, as investors. Okay, so this is very interesting for us as current investors in the stock market. It's very interesting to see how the market's going to react to this. But like I said, I'm not expecting a good week in the market at all whatsoever. So friends, that is kind of my gist of, and I just wanted to talk about Big Bear here because usually when I talk about Big Bear, I mention it with other companies. I just wanted to put this out there and say like, hey, Big Bear is my wild card of 2025. I'm not expecting a whole lot out of it at this point, okay? But what I would like to see out of Big Bear, bullet points right here, I want Kevin to start talking, okay? I think that's so positive. That's so good when a CEO does that. Next, I want to see Big Bear start to pay off some debt to where maybe by 2026, 2027, they can start to have some free-flowing cash. That would be amazing. I want to see Big Bear get some more government contracts, maybe some bigger contracts, something here. I want to see them at least meet expectations on a quarterly. That would be huge. That would be huge, okay? So these are things that I'm hoping for. I think we're starting to see somewhat hints that things are turning around a bit for Big Bear, maybe. But I do want to tell you, it's a risky situation with Big Bear here. It's already grown so much where it's at right now at this $4 and some change. Will we hit $5? I do believe Big Bear is in motion to reach $5. I really do believe that from what we're seeing. But it's really going to depend on what the market's doing this week. And like I said, I'm not expecting much, at least out of these next few days, out of the market. I could be completely wrong. Hope I am. But I'm not confident that we're going to see good things with our market here short term. Okay. So we could see Big Bear fall back down to like $3.20. Okay. I might buy some more. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I might buy some more because I do believe leading up into March, Big Bear could be at a well into $5, maybe more than that. And two, here's the ultimate thing to say right now. This is the hidden gem right now with Big Bear. Big Bear is but one huge deal away from something massive happening. Okay? Imagine if Big Bear received a government contract at this point for $1 billion, For $1 billion, that would change everything overnight like that for Big Bear. Now, $1 billion in talks of AI, it's like chump change at this point. I mean, if you know, if you know what's going on with Nvidia, Palantir, all these AI companies, AMD, the chip maker, I mean, yeah, $1 billion, it's like $5. Okay, it's not that much money. But for Big Bear, who needs money, they need capital, that would be huge for them. It would we would keep this $4. We'd be moving into $7 range, no doubt about it. We would move towards that $10 position that I'm curious to see if we would get here in 2025 sooner than later. So friends, these are things that I'm thinking about with Big Bear. These are the things in motion that I think could potentially happen with Big Bear this year. I'm not saying they can, they will. I'm just saying these are my hopes and expectations that I'm seeing a little bit of evidence to make me believe maybe this could happen here. So I want to wish all of you best of luck. I really hope this works out for all of us this year. I really do mean that. I want Big Bear to work. Obviously, I'm rooting for Big Bear. I have money wrapped up in it. I don't want it to fail, okay? I am in profit zone. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm in profit zone. So if you're new buying in here, you know, it may be a little rocky here until we can see more happen, but I think it might have a good year. I think this might be a good year for Big Bear. We're hoping. Friends, take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.